Hi everyone, Sharon here. Before I get started on my July design team project for Happiness in Crafting, I just want to step through the kits that I will be using for my project. I have two kits here. The first one is called Flower Journal Cards. And this is a compilation of all the images in a nice small format. And then these are the larger ones that I will be making some ephemera with. Really some beautiful images. And of course, I can never resist flowers. And that one. And I'm going to pair these up with another kit. This is called Collage. Oh, before I get to that one, this one has 74 pieces to it. And this kit has 90 pieces, and this one is called Collage Paper Pieces number 1. I just love these kind of kits with all the different designs and elements. And I will probably use these as kind of a backdrop for the flower journal cards. All different colors. This one has kind of a fall vibe to it. And this green sheet. So I will be back after I have some fun with these kits. See you later. Well, it's been a few days and I've been crafting away with these papers and made quite a few pieces of ephemera. I couldn't get them all on the camera at the same time, so I'll just step through each group of items that I made and kind of talk you through what I did. So for these three, I took library catalog cards and I just layered up some of the papers. So the backgrounds I used from the Collage Paper Pieces kit, and then I put the flower journal card images on the top. So this one is the tulip. And then there was already holes punched in these catalog cards, so I just added some ribbon there. And then on the backs, I again took a strip from the collage papers and added stamps and did a little paper punching for the top of that. And then this one is the peony. Again, layered the collage papers. And this is a piece of dyed cheesecloth. And then that's the back of that one. And then this last one, I used this chiffon type to make a nice poofy bow. And this one is lilac. And that's the back of that one. So that was the first set of items I made. And then I made a group of rather large journal cards. These I used for the base some straw paper, and I've been doing quite a bit of slow stitching lately, so I thought I would do some slow stitching on these flower journal cards. So you can see some of the stitching I did on there, and I layered that with a piece of French book page, used again some of the collage papers, added a ribbon, or I should say lace on top. And then for the backs of these, I again did, I've done this lately, some stitching lines for the writing lines. I just took that to my sewing machine. It's kind of a fun way to add lines. And then here's the daisy. In the back of that one. And then hyacinth. I'm getting pretty good at my French knots. Took me a little bit. And then the back of that one. So those three were pretty fun to make. The next grouping of items I made, I used some of these envelopes that I had. And what I did was I took one of the flower journal cards and put it on the top, and then I made this sliding belly band on there. And the reason I did that is because they have these really large flaps to the envelopes, and that kind of holds that down. So I glued those, added a little button image there. And then these flap open, and inside I made some journaling cards. And that's the back. And again, I layered in the background the collage papers. I think these two kits really work well together. The colors, and there's so many of these to choose from, so I kind of picked out some of my favorite flowers. This one is geranium. And then these belly bands too, again, I used all of the background collage papers for those. And then inside this one, I have this journaling card, or a tag, I should say. I guess it's officially a tag because I have a tab at the top. And then this one is the carnation. And then in there I have this hibiscus tag in the back of that. I finally feel like I have a little bit of ephemera built up now for some of my journals. So for these three, hopefully that glare isn't too bad, but I took a large window envelope. It had 2 windows, something like this. So I cut it across here and across the bottom. And these 2, I just used the original windows that were in the envelope. And for this one, I created a window by taking a piece of acetate and cutting this window out and gluing that on there. So again, I lined these with the background papers. And then on the backs of these, I did a wax seal with some thread. And then these, as the base of the backs, I used some coffee dyed ledger paper. And then inside, I put these tags. And I used some flashcards for those. And then this one is the iris. And I combined some old book page on some of these and music paper. That's the back of that one. And then the card. And I'm using up some of my postage stamps now that I have them organized. The inside of these envelopes I didn't line because I really like the pattern on the inside, so I wanted to keep that. And then this last one is the rose. And then that's the back of that one. And then the card or the tag inside. So these I would just tuck or clip into a page in my journal. Okay. And then the next few projects are using the really small journal cards, the ones that were all printed up on one page, and they're nice and small for some of these types of projects. So for these 3, I use them as tabs on a page, and I just layered them up with a little bit of, this one has cheesecloth on it. And the method I used to make it easy, here are some more examples of ones that I didn't apply to the page. But I first combined the top with some of the collage paper pieces on the back and stitched those, stitch those together first. And then that way you've got it something like this, and it makes it real easy to clip over the page. And then once I have it where I want it on the page, then I stitched it onto the page. And it just makes it a little bit easier to line up the front and the back. So this is what the back of that one looks like. I just added a little stamp number on there. And then this one I layered with some lace. Such pretty images. And the back of that one. And then hyacinth, I just added a little piece of like calico fabric. And the back of that one. One tip, when you're doing this, if you're adhering it to a page like this, make sure your page is open first before you try stitching it on. I stitched it on, so I had to do a little repair on this side to fill that back in, cut it out, and then I just used some of my old tape to tape up the page there. Lesson learned. Okay, the next project, these were fun. I love doing these. These are just little dangly embellishments that you can hang from a page or from your cover or something. And what I did for these, I took some of the smaller images, again, cut those out, backed them with some of the collage paper pieces, and then I went over them with a couple layers of glossy Mod Podge. And it really gives them, you know, some hardness. And then what I did was I layered on this bulb pin a little button, and then that little chip. And then I just punched some of the background papers to make a little kind of hanging thing, and then layered up with a piece of lace. So those combined are pretty simple, but really effective, I think. So there's the orchid. This one is hibiscus. And that's the back of that one. And this is bluebell. Crabapple. And wisteria. And then for my very last project, again, because these small images have some really neat little floral images, I took some of these little charm pieces that I have, and I just cut the images out to fit, and then glued them inside. I did use E6000 to glue these in. I'm not sure what kinds of glue would work with the metal, but I'm thinking Fabri-Tac may work, or art glitter glue possibly, but I wanted to make sure they stayed in there. So these would be fun too to hang from a journal page or on your cover or somewhere. So those are my projects for July. I really enjoyed working with these floral images. What I'm going to try to do at the end of my video is maybe put a still picture of everything together so you can see all the projects together. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions about how I made any of these items, please ask me a question. Let me know below. I didn't do a how-to because I just think it would have gotten really long, and it takes me so long to figure out how to do things. So maybe one of these days I will do a little bit more of the how-to videos. But until next time, bye-bye.